The starting point, I think, is that you have to act very, very quickly. In instances where monies have come into Hong Kong, they can leave just as quickly because the fraudsters are going to be armed with computers, and we can all move money through the internet these days. Speed is also important because you might not be the only claimant, and it may be that the first person to actually get to the pot of gold at the bank is going to be the happy one. So you want to make sure you're there. In looking at the new fraud matter, you've got a client who's very likely going to be upset, a little bit angry, and certainly rather confused as to where their money has gone and what they can do about it. So the first thing we do, I think, is to start gathering some information from them, whilst also trying to give them some calm and some reassurance. In Hong Kong, we've got a very good track record of actually recovering monies, sometimes not at the first bounce, but on second and third and even fourth level recipients. So it's always worth a while in actually going the extra yard with these fraud investigation matters. So the first thing I need to know from the client is how much money has been taken, when it was taken, and which banks are involved. Now, with the benefit of that information, I can start to clear conflicts, but it's also the beginnings of the first document that we're going to prepare, which is a report to the Hong Kong police. Now, the report to the police is important for two reasons. One is it allows you to calm the client down and get them to put down on paper a chronological sequence of events as to how they were defrauded and how the monies have ended up in Hong Kong. That is a very, very useful document because it's going to form the backbone of any affidavit that you're going to need at a later date to support applications for disclosure orders or injunctions or such like. It's also very, very useful to give to the police because once you've activated the police, they're obliged to make an investigation and they can create a de facto freezing of a bank account through a letter of no consent. A letter of no consent is a letter sent to the bank at issue, which will tell them that they are holding monies which are the proceeds of fraud and which should not be released because they are to be forfeit as such to the government in Hong Kong. So the police are helpful because they can help you get a de facto freeze, but obviously you wouldn't want to leave the money there because the monies would ultimately be forfeit to the government. So you have to jump in both feet and get yourself a disclosure order and a Mareva injunction. So to do this, you need to expand upon the information you've got from the client. The little chronology of events can be expanded so that you get the banking documents from them to show that the monies have left the account. You get copies of all correspondence exchanged with the fraudsters and anything then which has been sent to the police or sent to the banks so that you can demonstrate to the court that the chronology you were originally given by the client has now matured to become a full affidavit in support of the application for disclosures and injunctions. Normally, we would be able to get that information from the client and get an affirmation to them or an affidavit to them within about 12 hours, very often much more quickly than that, and then hope to get an injunction in place within the first 24 hours. But the key thing throughout all this, of course, is the urgency. The quicker you act, the more likely it is that you'll likely make a recovery.